welcome back to My Cup of TV with Jenny.
JD.
So, Vampire Diaries, Season 4, Episode 13, Into the Wild.
Ooh. It's going to be something in the forest.
I believe it's one of those, again, it's the name of like a movie.
Oh yeah, Into the Wild, yeah.
I think there was a really good TV show I watched, which I think was called Into the Wild. And it was a man and a woman, and they would investigate like disappearances of people who've gone out into the wild and disappeared, and like they've never found anything and stuff like that. Yeah. But they would go out to where they went and like stay out there and investigate and stuff. Ooh, it was really interesting. I really loved it. Okay.
So maybe this is them following that map into the wild. Now they've got it, so yeah. Let's get some answers, people.
But think, if the legend is true and this happened so long ago, it could be like, we found it. It's under this Walmart.
Oh, that's true. What if something...
It's in the middle of Costco.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's underneath the Mystic Falls.
Now we know what's in that castle at Disneyland.
What's in the castle at Disneyland?
Silas, maybe.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It could be anywhere. Yeah. That's true. Okay, so what are the odds that it's going to be like, oh, conveniently it's here in Mystic Falls? You know what I mean? Like they haven't had anything be like, oh, it's in Germany. Where'd go?
Imagine that. We've got the whole map and it's here.
Yeah, that would be pretty unimaginative, but let's see. I mean, they haven't talked about, because again, from what we know of like Catherine's past, that was overseas. Do you know what I mean? Like the originals have come from other countries, so it does expand out, but they haven't spoken about if, Mystic Falls was because it had some spooky epicenter of cross transatlantic lines, or if, you know what I mean, if this was the reason why spooky stuff happens here, then you can kind of have an idea as to why they're saying things are localized because of some spooky reasons, but they haven't done that. So yeah, I hope that there's a bit more imagination behind where this map leads.
Okay, so please remember to like, comment and subscribe. In the comments, what would be the funniest place for Silas to be for you?
If he's out in the middle of nowhere or in the forest or whatnot, that would be more convenient for them. But it'd be really cool if he was in like some tomby ruins or something. That leads me to believe that he'd be out in the middle of nowhere, like out in a forest or something. I don't know. We'll see.
But that's what I mean. It's that when he was put there, it probably would have been. But like now...
Yeah.
Glad we skipped the travel part. It would have been like Hot Fuzz with the bars on the phone going down and down and down.
Sunscreen? Is that a joke? You're giving Elena the evil eye, it's not really helping.
She killed my brother, tried to get you to put a dagger in my back. She's lucky all she's getting is the evil eye. Go ahead, try and kill me.
I don't understand why Rebecca didn't take the stake off her. It's one weapon that can kill her.
It's like someone forgot her.
How do they have it?
Exercises.
From killing Cole.
Yeah, but it burned up. Or is it because it's got the metal on it? It's got the spell on it. Okay, it's the indestructible now. Okay.
He's over.
Silas asked Kensia for help, making a spell for immortality. She helped make him immortal, only to learn he planned to use the same spell on another woman. Yeah. Silas was immortal, she couldn't kill him.
But that's what she could do to hurt him.
And buried him alive instead.
I mean, that just occurred to me again. That's why it's always good to re-watch and discuss. That moment where they both looked a bit awkward.
It's because they like each other still.
No, think of it. She brought Jeremy back to life, and then he cheated on her with another woman.
Oh! That's true.
It's just occurred to me like, oh.
The symbolism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like the woman that Silas got this immortal spell from was a witch. And so, but she was under the impression, or unless he fooled her, duped her into loving him, but she did it obviously because she loved him. And then when she found out he was using that spell with another woman so that they could be together forever, she trapped him for eternity but killed that woman because she was mortal and that was what she could do to hurt him.
Yeah, and then he's trapped for eternity but alone.
Yeah. But where is that woman? Where is that witch who made the spell? No, the witch who made the spell, where is she?
Okay.
And was she the one who created the hunters?
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's more there, so okay.
Cassia created a cure for immortality.
And then she buried it with Silas, hoping that he'd take it and die. End up on the other side with her for all eternity. So many centuries later, her descendants created the hunters to find him, cure him, and kill him.
Okay.
Right,
So, yeah.
she is dead.
So the idea being that supernatural things die and go to the other side, humans die and just move on. So when she killed the other woman,
Right.
she just moved on.
Mm.
But Silas, when killed, would go to the other side where she's waiting for him and he'll have to be with her forever.
That's what the witch.
Yeah.
Right, and because she would die, because she would
Yeah.
age, because she was a witch, so she was mortal,
Yeah.
but a witch. And so he wouldn't be able to escape her because they would both go to the other side together. But he wouldn't give her the satisfaction. He did not kill himself, so he's sitting in there really bored.
That is stubborn.
Mm.
And yeah, so they create the hunters
Her descendants
to find him. Yeah.
killed created the hunters to find him and kill him. Okay.
It's taking too long for her.
Because she's like, right, I'm on the other side now, I can't wait, so I'm going to hire people, I'm going to make my own hitmen to kill you so that you can come.
You will not win this.
Wow, okay, yeah.
The moment you stop being a vampire, our whole blood connection to you is broken, and your sire line ceases to exist. So whatever happens to you, happens only to you.
But he'd also still be a wolf, though, a werewolf, so he'd be stronger than Klaus anyway.
But let me tell you, your mother was a fighter.
I think Tyler would accept being human and a wolf to kill Klaus.
At this point, yeah.
Jeremy has a spell on his body. Bonnie's the witch that unseals the cure. Shane is the human compass. You and I have the tombstone, which does God knows what. And Elena has no point.
About me.
Can I ask a
You have a
question?
nice behind.
What'd she say?
She was giving the reason for everyone being there, and Elena has no point. He said, "What about me?" She said, "You have a nice behind."
Oh, that's good, sorry. Yes, Rebecca, I do like her.
I like the idea of it. You're pretty.
Do vampires get cold?
No.
Because they're all obviously, the actors are wearing layers there,
Yeah.
but I was like, why? But obviously it would be too cruel to ask the actors to do that scene without,
probably.
but yeah, I was like, how are they going to do this between if the vampires don't get cold, but yet it's fashionable?
Yeah, I don't think they get cold, and I think... But you'd probably find things like their shoes, you'd still want to dress for comfort for walking. And
Yeah.
so that might be partly what
But it was like
is. It's
Rebecca
not,
was wearing a scarf. Yeah, so I was like, but yeah.
I wonder
obviously we want the
though
actors
whether
to stay
some
warm.
of it is also habit. Because you must, when you're trying to live amongst humans,
Yes, that's
have to dress according to...
Very true. You need to look the
Yeah.
part, yeah. Okay, fair enough.
And imagine, that would be the dream. Because
Not
when you
getting
get up in the
cold.
morning and it's baking hot and you're like, I don't want to wear shorts today, but I'm going to be too hot if I don't. You don't have to. Or if it's cold and you're like, I don't want to wear my coat today.
So what, in theory, they just don't have a temperature? They just have a...
You could just...
They just have a homeostasis.
Yeah. You could just wear whatever you wanted that day, regardless.
Nice.
That'd be brilliant.
You could literally just dress for fashion,
Yeah.
not for need.
First lesson in survival.
Who laid those traps?
We've all lost someone. The chance to maybe see them again. I kind of get it.
It's that one thing that everyone can understand.
Jeremy!
Oh.
Who did
What
that?
the hell just happened?
Somebody just saved my life.
Do you really think that I'm gonna take this cure, break the sire bond, and fall out of love with you?
No. I'm saying we don't know. And if we find it tomorrow, we would.
I think that's what proves that he loves her, that he's willing to do it regardless of the risk of losing her.
Yeah, it's for her,
Yeah.
selflessly. Something that makes me... If I was in that situation, and obviously it's easy being an armchair critic, you know, when you're not in it, but something that makes me uneasy for them is that I hope that they are entering, like Elena, for example, I hope that she is entering the possibility of getting this cure with a measured feeling and emotional investment, just as much as the possibility that if it's not true, she won't be devastated. So, for example, you see throughout life where people are so emotionally invested in something happening that if it doesn't happen, it could destroy them.
Yeah.
And that they need to equally be measured about, okay, if it doesn't happen, these are the things that could happen in my life that would bring me joy as plan B or an alternative route. You know what I mean? If someone
pinning everything on this, and then...
If someone pins everything on one thing, which could be smoke, it could be nothing, you know, and that's where I get scared for people.
Gloat and multitask. This place is a disaster.
Thank you.
Starting with a horrific burnt corpse.
Oh. That is a shame. You could have an element of sensitivity there.
Well, then if you're Tyler, though, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
You are not even worth the calories I burn talking to you.
Oh.
No!
Wow. That's interesting. Wow, they didn't consider that, did they?
No.
Did you hear that? I swear this place is haunted.
You're crushing my heart.
It's interesting to see a supernatural original be scared by something else potentially supernatural. But it makes sense they have respect and a bit of fear of witches and witchcraft and spookiness. Because they know it's real.
It's the unknown. It's...
Being a vampire is miserable. I would give anything to be human.
Yeah, because she was going to marry the hunter, wasn't she? She wanted to be with him.
Well, she was already a vampire then, but...
But at least she would have had something.
It wouldn't be for her. It'd be for me.
Good.
When we lost our son in the car accident, my wife, she tried to resurrect his body using magic.
Your wife was a witch.
She was a powerful witch.
Oh, you
An
know
incredibly
that.
undisciplined.
You taught me the same magic that killed your wife?
Yeah, but look, the upside is I've learned the warning signs, all right? I can keep expression from consuming you. You know how this ends.
That's an extremely arrogant position of
I came
his.
here to raise silence.
Oh. Okay, I hope that it's something we're not realising, like that he's willing, he wants to help Jeremy. I'm hoping.
Can we just keep going, please?
I tried to be her friend, but somehow I ended up with a dagger in my back because I'm the evil one. Technically, you didn't achieve evil status until you killed me.
That's cool. I like Rebecca more and more every episode, really.
Thank you. Actually, thank you. This thing killed me. I don't care what happens to you either way.
I think that shows that her natural instinct is to save someone.
Yeah, she's not a horrible person.
Well, she can be.
But like I say, everything, whenever she's been horrible, it's been reactive. It's not been who she wants to be at her core, you know?
Hunter. Now look at you. Here you are, hours from Elena breaking a sire bond. Starting to freak out a little bit.
Because the reason I said that before was that hold on to the idea just in case this is not real, because it all sounds too good to be true. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I'm just like, I hope they're holding on to a realistic, rational view of, in case this isn't real, this is how we can accept what our lives are. Because the main thing this all hinges on is that he hasn't accepted, he won't let go of people that he's lost. Do you know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, I'm not buying it all. I don't know. And even if it is real, it's not it's not without sacrifice. They're going to unleash something potential, like at what cost?
Yeah.
At what? So I just don't. It's not. It's making me feel uneasy.
That it can't be that simple.
Yeah.
It is low though, using people's lost loved ones.
For sure. It's and you wouldn't have to do that if it was a genuine good cause or if there was no downside. So you're like, okay, no.
And it's one of those things that 99% of people would be able to understand, or even if they haven't been through it, could at least consider how they would. So
you wouldn't have to manipulate.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's to manipulate means it's not all being said.
What did you say to him?
Your boyfriend's a maniac, Elena.
But do you know what? As much as the others will want the cure, you can say Damon's the only one who's still using logic
Doing what I
on
said.
like this.
And you try to kill him?
Because I don't want you to be cured.
Being human isn't going to change my feelings for you.
Then what? You grow old, you die, I stay a vampire.
It's kind of all or nothing on either side, on human or vampire.
You think that you can be together, grow old together. This doesn't have to be hard anymore.
It's not me, Elena, it's Stefan.
What I find interesting about that is the fact that he's admitting that he doesn't want her cured, but he's still doing it. He's still going,
Yeah, because if it's what she wants, he won't stand in the way.
Which I think, as much as I've seen Damon so many times do what he wants, the fact that this time he is being like, I don't want it, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah, he does love her. And
Yeah.
that is real love, because he's being very selfless for what she wants.
But also, what was I going to say? The fact that he's just said to her that he doesn't want her cured, will the sire bond come into play?
Oh.
Because she wants to please him.
Right, so that's what you said in a different earlier episode. He has to be careful with his words.
Yeah.
So he's.
And I'm actually saying this because I can't remember
Yeah.
whether that does or not.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But
we're going to have to keep an eye on that
Yeah.
now as to whether or not her choice changes.
Because
or
if her
whether
choice
she
is to
gets
please
there.
him.
Yeah. So if she gets there and the cure is real, it's going to be really interesting to see if she suddenly has a change of heart, doesn't want to take it. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Or if they get there and the cure is not real,
Yeah.
that may not come into play. But you're right, it's going to be really interesting now to witness it. But
And
he doesn't realise like how much power his words have over his.
I mean, it's a
over her.
perfect example of the problem with the sire bond,
Yeah.
because that's not his intention.
No.
Because otherwise he could have early on said, you don't want to do that anyway, let's
Yeah.
leave this.
Literally. Yeah.
But
Ooh.
interesting though, sounds like she's run away with it a bit in her head that they're both going to be human and have the life that she wanted. When actually, when you look back over this episode, he hasn't answered every time she's raised it.
I was thinking in that moment, I was like, I don't know if it's because this is what he's wanted. He's wanted her to want him.
Yeah.
Because we haven't heard that from her so far. But again, in her head, maybe she didn't want to put that pressure on him. She wanted him to make his own choice.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why she hasn't said it. But now maybe she's thinking, well, this is what he needs to hear from me. He needs to feel that he's wanted regardless. So there's that. But then he still turned around and said, I don't want to be human. I like my... Like, is that because I like my vampirism? I don't know. Because he was like, that's not me, that's Stefan. Like, growing old and, having the chill, calm life. Maybe he likes the
excitement
of living on the edge and whatnot.
The thing about Damon though as well is you have to wonder whether he fears it. It's been so long since he was human.
Yeah.
Does he fear it?
Yeah.
And because look at the way he behaves, you can't behave like that as a human.
No, and you also
You're vulnerable.
You also can't behave like that when you get older. So when you're a human, youth has that finality to it, and when you get older, like again, we enjoy different things, but at the same time, there's part of us that will always long for those years when we were young and clubbing all night or whatever. But we're like, oh, it's okay, we're past that now. He never has to face that because he can just live in his prime forever. So now being faced with the possibility of that, he would have to choose to let that go. But the funny thing is, if anybody human had the option to choose whether or not to let go of the window of their youth, would they? Or would they choose to stay in that?
And another thing I thought is that he did say, because he said, I can't think of anything worse. in an earlier season, he said he had a woman, she was in her car and he was deciding he was going to kill her or not. And he said to her about how much he misses being human, and how desperately he wants to be human. Obviously, now he's saying this. So I also wonder whether he's got the skepticism of, until I know this is real, I'm not even going to entertain the thought.
Because he's doing what I said about, is that he's possibly terrified of indulging the idea that it could be real, only to have it snatched away and then be devastated. And we know that I think he does have that problem with that abandonment. He doesn't want something or to rely on it, only for it to be taken away. So you're right. Like, I think he's holding on to his skepticism until he can see with his own eyes and know that it's a real possibility, and only then will he potentially indulge that idea.
That could also explain, though, his thing about not wanting to be human, or is saying that being a vampire and being with human Elena, because he would have to lose her eventually. He's going to watch her grow old, and he will lose her.
That's the abandonment, that's the loss. And that's why I'm saying it's, for him, it's either we're both human or we're both vampires. Like,
because he made it sound like he said, we don't work if he's a vampire and she's a human. Almost like, I have to break up with you now, rather than not willing to see that loss.
through. He's not willing to go through that.
The loss.
And also, not only for him, but for her, if she's human and she stays in love with a vampire, well, she's not going to get those things that she wants to be human for, the growing old, the having kids. He can't give that to her.
Yeah.
So it's for
that
both of them.
That also goes back to what we said early days with Stefan, that do you love them enough to walk away?
Yes, so that they can have what you can't give them. Yeah.
So again, would he be able to?
Yeah. So it's almost like double whammy here, is that yes, it's his own selfishness, but also his love for her, that if she does choose to take the cure, he's not going to choose to take it with her, as far as we know up to now, of what he knows that this possibility is still not real, that he wouldn't choose to take it with her, but he would therefore push her away because he can't give her what she wants as a human.
And it also begs the question of him not answering whenever she's brought up the cure, and him taking it, he hasn't answered. Is that because he doesn't want his answer? Well, one, he may not know his answer completely. Two, does he not want his answer to influence her decision for herself?
Yeah, he potentially may have been being careful with his words.
Well, not even with the sire bond.
Yeah, just in general.
But she may have then been thinking, but if I'm human, our relationship is... Whereas if I stay like this, even if it's not what I really want, then works.
Yeah. Whereas once he's said how he feels, it's kind of tainted. It's almost... it's like what would you say to someone if it was the end of the world? Then you tell them honestly, and then all of a sudden it's not the end of the world, and they're like, oh shit, I wish I hadn't said that. It's a bit awkward.
In the same way that Stefan has come to a point where he said, if I take it, it's for me.
Yes.
And that's what she needs to
needs to do, and they all need to come to that point for themselves, and only then are they in a position to truly love and allow themselves to be loved by someone else. So I mean, it's that neediness and whatnot, like you need to fill your own cup first, and then are you in a position to truly be loved and give love. But that's interesting as well because of their ages, even though for Elena obviously she's only 17, 18, but they've been around for centuries. But I think a lot of their behaviour could technically have been avoiding some of this. But Stefan has that kind of emotional intelligence. I think he's got there sooner than Damon. Damon's still being very protective of his heart.
Yeah.
When he's not coming to that realisation of that I need to... But in other ways, Damon is very emotionally intelligent in the sense of that he has, in other aspects, he's come to be okay with himself when he had that conversation with Klaus and being like, no, you're a bad guy for dick reasons. I'm a bad guy, but for good reasons. I'm okay with that. If people don't like me, I'm okay with that. So there's different growth in different ways for the two of them, which also makes sense because they are different people. Oh, you?
One person's reasons would make them a dick to other people.
Yeah.
I'm sure in Klaus's head, he's like, I had my reasons.
Yeah. But that is what is, I think, more reflective of true human nature. They can't all come to the same perspective and they're all going to have different levels of development, different levels of perspective, and that's why we enjoy them as characters and why we see so much humanity in them.
Why do you all assume that I hate Elena so much?
Well, I mean, you did run her off a bridge.
You all seem to forget that Elena's death was the only way to save my family. I did the same thing that every one of you would have done to protect the people that you love. And before you cast me as the bad guy, maybe you should remember that Elena's helped to kill not one, but 2 of my brothers.
Yeah.
Jeremy's not here.
Who's the villain and who's not, all based on your perspective.
Was any of this real? Was it just a ploy to distract me while Shane ran off with the tombstone?
Every single moment of my last 146 years has been ruled by the pain of being a vampire. And this cure ends that.
Can't blame Rebecca for thinking you've all betrayed her.
Jeopardize that?
Oh, he's a hunter.
You're one of the 5.
Okay. So we paused quite a bit in that one to discuss points as we went, but an interesting island.
Yeah. A good episode, and I'm glad that they are making it chunky enough that they're obviously splitting it over a couple of episodes at least.
Yeah.
So that's good, because obviously this whole build up to Silas and everything, it can't just be quickly done in one episode, so that's good.
Well, there's one thing about this show, they pace things well.
Yeah.
It never feels so dragged out that you're waiting for ages or too fast that it didn't matter.
That it was an anticlimax. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so everyone's kind of split up.
I was very scared for them in the beginning. Again, all of them there, and I was like, y'all, look at some of you are going to be sacrificed. So I was scared for them.
Yeah, so Shane has managed to manipulate things to get just what he needs to where he needs it, and everybody else left behind.
That amount of manipulation of all of those different things, all those moving parts, that's fucking exhausting. That's why I couldn't be that much of a manipulator. Yeah. Like, my spirit animal was a cat or a sloth, so I'm just like, nah, like, couldn't do it. So, the amount of effort, wow.
So the person who took Jeremy was a witch. Working for Shane. But he said he wasn't the person who saved him earlier.
Yeah, there's obviously more people on the island going on and whatnot. What I want to know is, I can't quite figure out whether or not, because Cole said that he'd hung around some witches and they were like, no, Silas can't be raised. Whereas if this witch is working with Mr. Shady Pants, does he know that his intention is to raise Silas? Because that would give the impression that he is a witch that is okay with Silas being raised. So you know what I mean? There's almost like witches that have been against it and witches for it. So I don't know. I don't know who to believe, because you're looking for your steer of like, oh, if the witches say this is bad news bears, then maybe we shouldn't touch or play with that. You know what I mean? But here we have a witch who in theory is in with the plan to raise Silas. I don't know. Unless obviously Shady Pants has lied to him as well.
Maybe.
Or maybe he has lost his marbles because he's got people that he wants to save on the other side. Who knows? I don't know. Because obviously people can make different decisions if they're not quite in... I'm not saying their right mind, but if they're...
Grief is very powerful.
That's it, yeah.
Because we saw someone else on the island, another member of the 5.
That blind... I swear, I didn't get a good look at him, but I swear that actor was actually in Twilight as a vampire, which would just be so ironic. But anyway, potentially another hunter.
Yeah, he said you're one of the 5, you had the tattoo,
yeah.
And he now has Damon.
But he didn't kill him. He knocked him out, obviously killed him in the sense of that you'll be out for 10 minutes, but not a proper permanent kill.
Yeah.
Interesting. So many questions.
Stefan, Elena and Rebecca have kind of come to a bit of an understanding. Stefan opened up about wanting the cure.
For himself.
Yeah.
And that's interesting, isn't it? Because now it's complete opposite of what she heard from Damon.
Yeah.
So actually, in terms of like, if you meet someone, you want to know you're on the same page with the values and things you want from life. Yeah. And obviously Stefan may want the same things that Elena wants. So I wonder if that's going to make Elena question.
I think it was interesting that when Rebecca said to him about taking the cure for Elena, and he said, no, I want it for myself. For him to go on that kind of rant showed you just how much he does want that for himself.
Yeah. He was admitting, he was like, this life is miserable. It was
almost like he just let his guard down and just Because even Elena looks surprised at how much he clearly wants it.
Yeah. Because almost like at that point, what have they got to lose? Just being honest about it. You know?
And again, maybe Elena was actually listening to what he's saying and going, it's not about me.
No, that's it.
He hates his whole existence.
Yeah, and he's had to deal with this for over 100 years, and there I am a few weeks or months in.
Going, I can't do this.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes when you get those lessons, those moments when you're like, oh, check yourself.
Yeah.
They're humbling and they're good lessons. Yeah, and then I'm glad that we saw something of Caroline and Tyler in this episode back home.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because obviously there might have been a question of like, oh, I wonder what Klaus is doing while he's trapped in that room. So, but that was kind of silly that they got too close, not realising that he can't get out, but he could.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was harsh.
Well, he lured, didn't he?
That was also, by provoking, but that was also pretty desperate of him lashing out to get back some semblance of control, which is quite a trait of a narcissist.
And that's very Klaus. He doesn't like being out of control of things. The fact that he even said, I killed your mum, you killed my brother, now we're even. You're like, that's not...
Yeah, that's not how this... People are not chips that are tit for tat. Like, people are
and Tyler had nothing to do with your brother.
Yeah.
Also, I was so happy to see Rebecca say to Stefan,
yeah, fuck you with your judgments.
I was saving my family. Yeah. You all do it and it's okay.
Look at us side by side. We're not that different, mate. Yeah. Open your eyes. Yeah, good for her. I like Rebecca more and more with each episode. The more that she gets to stand in her own power, away from the complications that Klaus gives her and of her family, I like her more. Because again, it's almost like she is still reacting to being like, screw you, your judgments, whatever. But like I say, before, anything that she did that was violent or screwing people over, or like manipulating in a plan, it was always Klaus's fucking plan. She was always getting pulled into, I just feel like her standing on her own away from the messiness of her family, she's just able to, you know when you sit and you're just like, what you need is a few years to be single and figure out who you are away, like not in a relationship, not with your family. That's what we've wanted for her, and this is kind of like she's getting some of that. So I'm really glad.
I think as well, it's interesting the way, obviously, they all feel about Rebecca and they are to Rebecca. And then you've got Stefan, who does see a different Rebecca. He sees the vulnerable side because she lets him in. I mean, I'll be honest though, Rebecca did that once with Elena and got literally stabbed in the back.
She did say, yeah.
But, so for Stefan, it's a bit like, when they say, like, how can you trust her and stuff, it's because he does see a different side of her. Yeah. That the others don't get to see.
But you can't blame her for not showing that side of herself to the others, because the moment she did, she got screwed over. Yeah. So yeah, bless her.
And, as much as Elena goes on about, well, you killed me, blah, 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 like, Rebecca doesn't owe you anything.
No.
And but Elena doesn't owe Rebecca anything either.
No.
It's one of those where it's very much these are two people that don't need to be in the same social circles. No. They're clearly never gonna.
but almost funnily enough, if they did, and they both actually just, they could have been friends.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. Yeah. I'm intrigued to see another one.
Yes.
Man, y'all are lucky that she makes me wait, because I would binge this from home.
I know. Yeah, imagine having to wait a whole year for another season.
I remember back in the day, we had to wait for episodes like once a week.
Yeah.
And then you had a seasonal gap, and it was months. Oh.
So that was our reaction to The Vampire Diaries, Season 4, Episode 13, Into the Wild. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.